Last night, SAU Athletics inducted 5 Fighting Bees into the Athletic Hall of Fame. The inductees include golfer Drew Chupek from the class of 2008 and cross-country and track alum John Darmody, class of 2012. Football coach John Furlong also makes the list of inductees after leading a nationally prominent football program during his 5 years at Ambrose. Soccer alum and current women's coach Courtney Manall also made the list alongside one of our very own, Duke Schneider, entering the Hall of Fame with the Legacy Award.
Duke, you've been an amazing friend, an amazing teacher, professor, and mentor, and I am honored to introduce to you guys the inductee for the 2025 St. Ambrose Athletics Hall of Fame, Duke Schneider.
For more than 4 decades, Duke did wonders behind the scenes for the Fighting Bees as the operations manager for SAUtv. After graduating from SAU in 1976, Duke helped shape our program into what it is today, shooting game highlights and directing hundreds of sports broadcasts. Most importantly, he taught and mentored SAU students to do the same. In this week's What's the Buzz, we sit down with Duke to talk about the honor.
Joining me now is former SAUtv operations manager Duke Schneider. Thanks for being here, Duke.
Thank you.
So you were a staple of SAU Athletics for decades simply because you showed up with a camera. And you facilitated hundreds of sports broadcasts. What does it mean to you to have received this award?
It was quite a surprise and quite an honor. I appreciate that they appreciate what I did. But the ceremony was great. A lot of friends and family there. Had a former student introduce me, and it was just a beautiful experience.
So wind the clocks back a little bit to the early 70s when you were a student here at St. Ambrose. How involved were you with the program and the athletics that we had back then?
Well, for one, I lived in this building, as you might imagine. I was probably you do too.
Yep.
I came to St. Ambrose because of KALA. I remember coming for a visit. The building was new then, if you can imagine how long ago that was. And I was so impressed. And I got a half tuition scholarship, so that made it possible. And I got very involved in doing sports play-by-play and that sort of thing for KALA radio. TV really wasn't going yet then. But towards the end of my senior year, or somewhere along in there, we did figure out a way to go gather up equipment, heavy equipment, tape-based equipment, heavy old cameras, and videotape St. Ambrose basketball games, which were played at Assumption High School. And then we would just play them back for the team like the next day. They'd come down here and watch them, and we had no other outlet. But we just to get that experience, a multi-camera shoot of St. Ambrose basketball back in the mid-'70s.
And then after you graduated, you were asked back to oversee the TV station here. And what did that mean to you after all the hard work you put in?
Well, it just seemed like a natural fit. I started here in '79, and right away we tried to get going. Again, basketball was still being played at Assumption, so we had to haul everything over there. The big breakthrough for us was in 1984 when Lee Loman Arena was built. That gave us an opportunity we ran some buried lines between the buildings, and we had a cable channel at the time on then Cox Cable in the Quad Cities, and we were able to do games live from there. And that just was a big game changer. So we did men's and women's basketball and some volleyball live from Lee Loman Arena.
Yeah, you kind of touched there on my next question,
Yeah.
just how you got to see the program evolve alongside SAU Athletics.
It was fun. The basketball teams were great. You know, women's basketball teams in some of those eras of the late 80s and early 90s were legendary. They were coached by Lisa Bluter, the recently retired Iowa women's basketball coach. They were nationally ranked. The men's and women's teams often both went to nationals, and we covered all that as well. We traveled with alongside the team. We go to Tennessee or Kansas City or wherever nationals were being held, and we took student crew along, and of course KALA radio was there too doing all that, and so it was just a fun experience for everyone.
So when you were shooting highlights or directing a broadcast, it ended up being that a lot of your own students would sometimes be competing in those sports. And what did it mean to you to see your students thrive, not just in the classroom and in SAUtv, but on their field too?
You know, I found that student athletes were some of the best students because one thing, they had real good time management skills. They were very busy with all the things that a varsity athlete might be involved in, as well as doing stuff for, for their major, radio, television, or whatever that would be. It meant a lot, and it was fun. It was fun to shoot a basketball game, and then we definitely like zero in on one of our guys, that sort of thing. What was interesting too is that some of, like, say, football players would come by afterwards, and I said, "You want to edit your own highlight reel? Go at it. You know how to do it. I've got the video here for you, the raw stuff. Go for it." So they kind of learned to do that, and of course they had incentive to do that. They really enjoyed watching their own highlights.
I bet. I mean, I would definitely enjoy that too.
Absolutely.
And a lot of those same students ended up going on to find really great careers in media production. And I just wanted to ask, what are some of the success stories that you kind of know about and you want to mention?
I hate to do that because there are dozens and dozens and dozens of really good success stories, and I'm afraid to leave someone out. But what's nice about it is that I've said this many times. All these people come to me as students, and they leave as lifelong friends, and we keep in touch all the time. I still put out a monthly newsletter just among alums to kind of catch everybody up on what everybody's doing. Run into them all the time. There's social media. It's so easy to keep in contact. People are always sending me emails and updates, and we run into each other every once in a while. They are really all across the country doing all kinds of things, not necessarily in broadcast, although a lot of them are. Some are in business and industry, and often doing media things and those things. And I'm just so proud of them all, and I'm just honored that they still want to keep in touch.
It's going the extra mile on your part, and I'm sure the students really appreciate that. So just why is it so important to you to maintain those friendships?
Well, again, they're just really genuinely good friends. It started in December of '99 when I was sending out like a Christmas message to everyone, just, Merry Christmas. And I got all these great replies and updates, and I thought, these people would like to know this. So the next month I send another one, and I've been doing it ever since. Often I send those out at the end of the month, and I have the next newsletter ready to go in days because of all the information and feedback I get. But it means a lot. And I just at the ceremony here, at the Hall of Fame ceremony, graduates came up to me and said, "Boy, Duke, I really appreciate your newsletter. Thanks for doing that." And so that's why it keeps going.
That's awesome. And so you retired in 2022 after 40 years with SAU.
Yeah, 43.
43 with SAU.
43.
43. How have you since been enjoying your retirement?
I'm still doing freelance television. I do a lot of work with MediaCom, sometimes with Big Ten Network, that sort of thing. What's nice about that is it's like with MediaCom, I'm still doing television, which I love. It's sports or music, events, which I love. I'm working with a lot of great people. A lot of them are former students, which I love. It pays pretty well, and I'm not in charge. It's the best part.
That's awesome. Well, this was a great honor to be able to meet you, and just I love SAUtv and what it's become. So it's been a pleasure to have this interview. Thank you for being here, and congratulations on your
thank you very much. You keep up the good work. I watch you, and Jordan and Greg do a great job here, and the students are all doing a great job. They haven't skipped a beat. I feel very comfortable having retired and watched from the sidelines.
Thank you.